Hello everyone. So, in the last class we have seen about the generation and absorption of reactive power. So, there are different components are there of generation and absorption of reactive power. So, that generation and absorption of reactive power we have seen in the last class. So, there are mainly 4 components you are having, that is a synchronous machine you are having, and you are having the transformers, transmission lines and underground cables. How the behavior of these transformers and transmission lines, so that we have seen, right. So, next we have seen about the role of reactive power, on the voltage and voltage regulation. So, we have seen in the last class. So, today we are going to learn about the reactive power. So, how the reactive power is going to be generated, what are the voltage control methods depends upon the reactive power, what are the voltage control methods, that we are going to learn in this lecture, that is lecture 3, right. So, if we go for the learning objectives of this lecture, so here if you see, the first one is to understand the concept of relation between voltage and reactive power. To understand the concept of relation between voltage and reactive power at a node. So, at a node what happens to the voltage and reactive power, what is the relationship between the voltage and reactive power at a particular node. So, we are going to see that in this lecture. And the next one is to understand the methods of voltage control. What are the different methods of voltage control? So, there are different methods of voltage control if you consider the transmission line. So, according to the sending end and receiving end. So, you are having both sending end and receiving end for a transmission line. So, there is a sending end voltage control and receiving end voltage control. So, there are different methods are there for the sending end voltage control, and for the receiving end voltage control you are having different methods. So, that method we are going to learn in this lecture. The last one is to understand the shunt capacitor compensation. So, in the methods of voltage control you are having different methods, that in that methods you are having one of the method is shunt capacitor compensation. So, if you go for the shunt capacitor compensation, what it will does, what are the reactive power, is it generating the reactive power, is it absorbing the reactive power, that is what we are going to learn in this lecture, right. So, if you go for the first topic, that is the relation between voltage power, that is reactive power at a particular node. So, if you consider the conventional reactive power expression, so which says that the system voltage, what is the conventional reactive power voltage equation, that is Q is equal to V I sin phi. It is a function of voltage. What I am saying is the system voltage is a function of real and reactive power. The system voltage is a function of real and reactive power. So, if you see here reactive power, that means there is a Q is a reactive power, real power is P. So, in that real power is P, reactive power is Q. That means the voltage is a function of real and reactive power, that is V is equal to F of P comma Q I am considering. So, if I consider the total derivative or the first derivative of the above function, that is V voltage function, if I consider dV is equal to del V by del P into dP plus del V by del Q into dQ. So, why I am getting these equation means you are doing the total derivation, that means you are doing the partial differentiation with respect to the real power one time, and the next one is with respect to the reactive power I am doing the derivation. That means that voltage function is derived first with respect to the real power, because you are having the in the function you are having two parameters, that is P and Q. So, you need to do the differentiation with respect to the P one time, and the next you have to add that other that parameter, whatever the other parameter is Q. So, that parameter you have to differentiate, that is partial differentiation. Total derivative of the function is dV. So, that dV is equal to del V by del P into dP plus del V by del Q into dQ. You are doing the differentiation with respect to power, that is real power one time, then you are adding the reactive power differentiation to that equation, that gives your total derivative of the given function, total derivative of the given function, that is V. So, if I consider dV is equal to dP by del P by del V, just I am taking that to the denominator, that means that whatever the del V by del P partial differentiation is there, that I am considering in the denominator. then you are going to get del dV is equal to dP by del P by del V, reverse you are going to get, plus dQ by del Q by del V. So, let us consider that as a equation 1. So, that equation 1 can be seen that from the, if we see the equation 1, so that you are having the change in the voltage, whatever the parameters are there, that change in the voltage at a specific node is governed by the quantities. There are different quantities are there, that quantities are del P by del V and del Q by del V. So, these two parameters, mainly these two parameters will change the voltage at a node. That means, del dV is equal to, that is the voltage function dV, that is total derivative. So, that total derivative is equal to equation is dP by del P by del V, means that del P by del V function is the main parameter which will changes the voltage, and the other main parameter is del V by del Q by del V. So, there are two parameters, these two parameters will help in the change in the voltage. That means, so you need to control these two parameters in order to control the voltage. So, there, so in the last equation, last lecture equation, in that we are having del V is equal to R P plus X Q by V. So, that means, in that role of reactive power on voltage and voltage regulation, in that equation we have got this. So, that is del V is equal to R P plus X Q by V. So, if we consider del V is nothing but what? E minus V, that is change in the voltage. Del V is nothing but change in the voltage. If I consider in the place of del V, E minus V. So, E minus V is equal to R P plus X Q by V, right. So, just cross multiply E minus V into V, you are going to get R P plus X Q, then bring that R P plus X Q to the left hand side, then you are going to get the equation 2, that is E minus V into V minus R P plus minus X into Q, that is equal to 0 you are going to get. So, let us consider, first consider the sending end voltage is a constant, consider sending end voltage is a constant, then you consider from the equation 2. So, just consider the power equation from that equation 2, just solve for the P. P is equal to what you are going to get? E minus EV minus V square minus X Q you are going to get by R. Just take that minus R P to the right hand side, then take the P value only, from that you are going to get P equation. So, that P equation is equal to P is equal to EV minus V square minus X Q by R you are going to get. So, if I differentiate this with respect to the V, that differentiation is a partial differentiation, that is del P by del V, which is equal to E minus 2 V by R you are going to get. That means, the derivation of the EV is nothing but what? E is a constant, there is a V, partial differentiation of the V is 1, and then you are having V square. So, what is the differentiation of V square is nothing but 2 into V you are going to get. So, then you are having the minus X Q, minus X Q differentiation is what? That is a constant, with respect to P it is constant. So, that constant I am considering, that is constant differentiation is 0. We know that the constant differentiation is 0. So, then what I am considering is only I am considering EV minus V square by R. So, for that if I differentiate, you are going to get E minus 2 V by R. V square differentiation is 2 V, you are going to get E minus 2 V by R, right. Then write the Q equation from that equation 2. Q with respect to Q means Q is equal to EV minus V square minus RP by X you are going to get. So, that is what? Q is equal to EV minus V square minus RP by X. If I differentiate Q with respect to the V, that differentiation is your partial differentiation, that means E minus 2 V by X you are going to get. So, E minus 2 V by X you are going to get, right. So, that is what let us consider that equation as 4. We are having two equations, that is equation 3 and 4. So, substitute equation 3 and 4 in equation 1. So, if you see the equation 1, that is dV is equal to dP by del P by del V plus dQ by del Q by del V. So, in the place of del P by del V and in the place of del Q by del V, I am substituting that equation 3 and 4. So, these are the two equations, equation 3 and equation 4. If I substitute these two equations in that equation 1, then I am going to get dV is equal to dP by E minus 2 V by R plus dQ by E minus 2 V by X. So, dV is equal to what? We are going to get dV is equal to just multiply that R to the upper side and Q to the upper side here, Q and X. We are going to get the equation as dV is equal to dP into R plus dQ into X by E minus 2 V. I am taking the common in the denominator, right. So, that is what the equation. So, the relation between the real power and reactive power at a node with respect to the voltage. So, that the relation between the voltage, real power and reactive power at a node is this equation, that is delta dV is equal to dP into R plus dQ into X by E minus 2 V. So, that is what the equation of the relation between the voltage and power, real power and reactive power at a node. So, if I consider the lossless system of a transmission line. So, if I consider the lossless system is nothing but what? There is no resistance. Whenever you are having the resistance in a transmission line, then you are going to have the losses, that is 3 into I square R. If it is 3 phase system, you are having I square R losses. So, if I consider the system is lossless system, that means the resistance of the system is 0. If the resistance of the system is 0 only, you are having no losses in the system. That means, you are having dV equation, that dV is equal to, just substitute R is equal to 0 in the above equation. That is dV equation. If you substitute R is equal to 0, then you are going to get dV is equal to dQ into X by E minus 2V you are going to get. Just take that dQ and dV to the right hand side, then you are going to get dQ by dV. So, if I bring that X by E minus 2V total term to the left hand side, that means you are going to get E minus 2V by X. dQ by dV is equal to E minus 2V by X you are going to get. So, if I consider what is that, here it is an evident that the smaller reactance associated. So, if you see here dQ by dV is related with the reactance. If the reactance is very less, then dQ by dV term is going to be very high. That is, the reactive power is going to be increases and the voltage is also associated with the reactive power only. The voltage is going to be changes, right. So, that is what here. That means, it is an evident that the smaller reactance associated with the node, the larger the value of the dQ by dV for a given voltage drop, right. For a given voltage drop is nothing but E minus 2V is the voltage drop. So, for a given voltage drop, you are going to get dQ by dV is very large value when reactance value is less, right. For a low resistance, for a low reactance, right. So, if I consider for light loading condition, the receiving end voltage, for the light loading condition, the receiving end voltage is approximately equal to the sending end voltage, because you are going to have the lossless system for light load condition or at no load condition, because whatever the sending end voltage is there, that is going to be totally present at the receiving end side, because of the losses less amount of the losses. We can say easily lossless system, right. That is E is equal to V. So, if I substitute in the place of V, if I substitute E, that is E minus 2 into E by X you are going to get. That means, you are going to get dQ by dQ by dV value is minus E by X, because E minus 2E is nothing but minus E, then you are going to get dQ by dV is equal to minus E by X you are going to get. So, that is what the relation between the real power and reactive power at a node, right. Real power, reactive power and voltage, right. So, if we go for the next topic is methods of voltage control. What are the different methods of voltage control is, you are having the, so if you consider the transmission line, you are going to have two ends, that is one is a sending end, another one is a receiving end I can say. So, according to the voltage control, there are different methods of voltage control. So, if you consider the receiving end voltage control and there is a sending end voltage control, you can control the voltage by both the ends, at the receiving end as well as at the sending end. So, you can consider, that means, if you consider the receiving end voltage control, that is you are having these 6 methods are there. So, in that 6 methods you are having, the first one is shunt capacitor compensation, shunt capacitance compensator. That is, next one is shunt reactor compensation, and the third one is series capacitor compensation, and the fourth one is series reactor compensation, fifth one is tap changing transformer, and the last one is booster transformer. So, these are the 6 methods you are going to have the receiving end voltage control. So, at the receiving end you are going to install these 6 equipment, in order to control the voltage at the receiving end. And if you consider the sending end side, so in that sending end side you are having only the one. So, that is here the generator excitation control. By controlling the generator excitation, that is the DC supply excitation which we are giving to the generator. So, if you control the excitation of that generator, then you are going to get the controlling of the voltage at the sending end. So, at the starting of this unit we have seen that excitation will change the reactive power. So, that reactive power in turn which will changes the voltage. So, that is what we have seen at the beginning of this unit 2, right. So, that we are going to use here, that is sending end voltage control method, right. So, if we go for the one by one of these methods, so first we will go through the receiving end voltage control. In that receiving end voltage control, first we will see the shunt capacitor compensation, that is shunt capacitor compensation by connecting the capacitance in the shunt. So, that is, see here, shunt capacitor compensation. So, in this shunt capacitor compensation you are having the small banks of shunt capacitors are connected in star or delta, which is used at substations. These are going to be used at the substations for supplying the reactive power to the system. So, we are going to connect the small banks of capacitors in a shunt to the receiving end, or at the receiving end we are going to connect, and these are going to be used at the substations to supply the reactive power to the system. So, whenever the reactive power deficit is there, so in order to supply the reactive power, we are going to use these shunt capacitors at the substations. So, these are going to be connected, either it may be in star connection or in delta connection. So, if you go for this, it will improve the power factor of the load, it will improve the power factor of the load, right. So, let us consider how the behavior of the shunt capacitor is going to be happens when we are connecting these to the transmission system or at the substations. You may consider at the substation, for the case as of now, just we are considering at the receiving end, just I am considering shunt capacitor compensation, that is I am connecting the shunt capacitor at the receiving end side. So, without shunt capacitor what happens? With shunt capacitor, how the behavior of the system is going to be changes, that is we are going to see in this lecture. So, here we are having the transmission line. Let us consider there is a generating station, that generates a voltage of Vs, and there is a sending end, that is sending end voltage is Vs at an angle delta, and you are having the transmission line. So, this transmission line is having some impedance, and then you are having receiving end. To that receiving end there is a load connected. So, that load is having the power factor of cos pi 1, and there is a reactive power Q 1 at the load. So, that reactive power Q 1 is called as the reactive power demand by the load, and there is a Q 2. So, here you are having the Q 2, that Q 2 is nothing but the reactive power supplied by the generator. The reactive power demand by the load is Q 1, and the reactive power supplied by the generator is Q 2, and you are having the Q r. Q r is nothing but what? Q r is nothing but that is the net reactive power at receiving end, the net reactive power at receiving end, and there is a voltage at the receiving end, that voltage is nothing but V r at an angle 0 you are going to get. So, that is the voltage at the receiving end, whatever the voltage you are getting at the receiving end is VR at an angle 0, right. So, in this case we know that without connecting the shunt capacitor, so how this reactive power is going to be, that means, so if you see the phasor diagram for this, then you are having the phasor diagram is, so if you see there you are having real power, that is a power triangle phasor diagram, and I am considering P is the active power and Q is the reactive power, that is height of the triangle is Q, and you are having the upper end power, that is S, S is the upper end power. So, here there is a Q1, Q1 is the total demand. So, if you see in that, in that triangle there is a Q1, that is the height of the triangle is Q1. So, that is reactive power demand by the load, and you are having Q2, the below portion is you are having Q2, that is only the reactive power supplied by the generator. So, let us consider the case, let us consider an example. So, you are having the reactive power demand at the load. So, here you are having the reactive power demand at the load. So, that it is, let us consider as 10 units. 10 units of load demand is there, that is reactive power demand at the load is 10 units, but your generator is only able to supply 8 units of the reactive power. It is only able to supply the 8 units of the reactive power. Then who will supply the remaining units of the, that is remaining 2 units? You are having the demand is 10 units, but the generator will only able to supply the 8 units of the reactive power, then which will supplies the remaining 2 units. So, that is what the question mark in the triangle. So, the Q2 will supplies by the generator and Q1 is your demand, and there you are having some question mark at the upper portion of the triangle. So, that who will supply that? The remaining reactive power, that is remaining 2 units. In this case, if I consider 10 units, out of that 10 units load demand, only 8 units is supplied by the generator, and remaining 2 units who will supply? So, that is going to be supplied by the shunt capacitor, whatever the shunt capacitors which we are connecting in the receiving or at the receiving end, that will supply the remaining required amount of the reactive power, that is supplied by the shunt capacitor. So, in this case what happens, the Q1 is greater than Q2, that means the reactive power demand is more than the reactive power supplied. The reactive power demand by the load is more than the reactive power supplied by the generator. So, here then what happens, the receiving end voltage is going to be reduces, that means the receiving end voltage is less than the sending end voltage. So, in this case, so this is what we have seen at the starting of this unit, right. Q1 is greater than Q2, then what happens, VR is less than Vs, right. So, if you go for the next case, that is case 2, just now I am considering or I am connecting a shunt capacitor to the receiving end side, that is I am connecting a parallel capacitor to the receiving end side, that is in parallel with the load I am connecting. So, here what happens is the same thing, you are going to get the total diagram. So, here the supply is Vs, that is sending end voltage is Vs, and here you are having the transmission line, and then you are having the receiving end voltage. So, that receiving end voltage is VR at an angle 0, and then you are having the load will have the demand of reactive power is Q1, and there is a shunt capacitor is connected here. That shunt capacitor is going to be supplies the reactive power which is in opposite direction to the Q1, as Q1 is absorbing the reactive power, that is the load is absorbing the reactive power Q1, but shunt capacitor is delivering or generating the voltage which is delivering the reactive power to the receiving end side. That means, the arrow mark is upper side, that right. QCSH I am considering here, whatever the shunt capacitor reactive power is there, that shunt capacitor reactive power is QCSH, right, that is delivering, right. And as well as you know that Q2 is nothing but the reactive power supplied. Q2 is the reactive power supplied by the generator. Then what happens here, So, in the previous case what happens, the 10 megawatt, sorry 10 units. So, the Q 1 is 10 units, here Q 2 is, so in that phasor Q 2 is what happens 8 units, the QCSH, that is shunt capacitor reactive power, that is how much 2, then you are having the total is 10 units are going to be supplied with the help of shunt capacitor connected in parallel. Then what happens is, in this case the pi 1 is more than the pi 2, the pi 1 angle is more than the pi 2. So, that is the red, in the red mark I have shown pi 1 is greater than pi 2, then what happens to the power factor, cos pi, here the cos pi 1 is greater than, as the pi 1 increases what happens, sorry here it is cos pi 2 is greater than cos pi 1, as the angle decreases cos value is going to be increases. So, just change that one, cos pi 2 is greater than cos pi 1, cos pi 2 is greater than cos pi 1, right. As angle is decreases, cos of the angle value is what happens, that is increases, that is cos 0 is 1, cos 90 is 0, right. As the angle decreases, the value of the cos is going to be, as the value is increases of angle, the cos value is going to be decreases. So, then what happens here, as pi 1 is greater than pi 2, cos pi 2 is greater than cos pi 1, that means the power factor is going to be improves. So, this by connecting the shunt capacitor in parallel with the load, that will improve the power factor, So, if I consider the reactive power rating of the shunt capacitor, that is CSH, let us consider from the triangle ABD, that is the bigger triangle ABD. So, from that if I write Q 1 is equal to what happens, the total Q 1 is the height of the triangle. So, that Q 1 is equal to Q 2 plus QSH, Q 1 is equal to Q 2 plus QSH I can write. Then QCSH, from that equation you are going to get Q 1 minus Q 2, just I am taking that Q 2 to the left hand side, that is Q 1 minus Q 2 you are going to get. So, from the triangle delta ABC, that is triangle ABC, that is below triangle ABC, you are having the angle is pi 2, right. So, if I write the tan pi from that triangle, then what happens, you are going to get Q 2 by P, that is tan is nothing but adjacent, opposite side by adjacent side, right, that is Q 2 by P. You are going to get Q 2 value is P tan pi 2, right. Next, if you consider the from del, that is triangle ABD, from triangle ABD, that is a bigger triangle, from that there is an angle is pi 1, for that you are going to get tan pi 1 is equal to Q 1 by P, that Q 1 is equal to P into tan pi 1, right. Q 1 is the total height of the triangle and P is the adjacent side, opposite side by adjacent side, that is tan. So, you are going to get Q 1 by P, then you can write Q 1 is equal to P tan pi 1. So, in this way you can calculate, or you can consider the general equation of the reactive power, that is Q is equal to V I sin pi. Then Q is equal to what happens, V I sin pi, if I multiply and divide with the cos pi, that equation is multiply and divide with the cos pi equation, then what happens, Q is equal to P tan pi, P into tan pi, P is the V I cos pi, just I am considering sin pi by cos pi, and then you are having V I cos pi, V I cos pi is nothing but P, and tan pi you are going to get, sin pi by cos pi is nothing but you are going to get tan pi. So, you can substitute that Q 1 in the place of Q 1, directly you can substitute Q 1 is equal to P tan pi 1, or Q 2 is equal to directly P tan pi 2 you can substitute, because here what happens in this, only the reactive power is changes, that is height of the triangle is only changes, but there is no change in the real power, just I am considering only the P here, because there is no change in the real power in this. So, by connecting the shunt capacitor, there is no change in the real power, there is only change in the reactive power, as it is only generating the reactive power, there is no generation of the active power, right. So, if I substitute these two Q 2 and Q 1 in that above equation of QCSH, then what happens means Q 1 minus Q 2, that is P tan pi 1 minus P tan pi 2 you are going to get, So, that values are Q C S H P into tan P, if I take the common P, tan pi 1 minus tan pi 2, you are going to get that units are VARs or KVARs or MVARs, that is the units of the reactive power. So, where P is nothing but the 3 phase active power input to the load, 3 phase active power input to the load. So, if I consider QCSH, so QCSH is nothing but the 3 phase reactive power rating of the shunt capacitor, 3 phase reactive power rating of the shunt capacitor, that is QCSH per phase values if I consider. So, those values are 3 phase values. If I consider per phase value, then you have to divide the equation with 3, you are going to get per phase value, that is P tan pi 1 minus tan pi 2 by 3, that is value is per phase value, per phase reactive power. So, just if I consider the practical case, so practical arrangement of shunt capacitors at substation if I see. So, this is what the practical arrangement, you are having a R Y B 3 phases R Y B. So, here you are having Q 2 is a reactive power supplied by the generator and you are having the Q 1. So, that Q 1 is nothing but what? There the reactive power demand by the load, as you are connecting the load is in star connection, that is a 3 phase load, whatever the load is there, that is the 3 phase load, that is star connected load, and you are having the delta bank of capacitors, that is 3 phase capacitor bank, so that is connected to the transmission line or at the substation we are connecting. So, whenever the reactive power demand is increases, so here the reactive power demand is Q 1, as the reactive power demand is increases, but the generator is not able to supply the reactive power, it is cannot able to supply the reactive power, means you need to switch on this capacitor bank in order to supply the reactive power. That capacitor bank will supply the reactive power, that is QCSH. So, whenever you are closing the switch of 3 phase, then it will start the supplying of that capacitor bank, will start the supplying of reactive power to the lines where you are connecting the capacitor bank. So, that capacitor bank is connected in delta and the load is connected in star in this case, but the capacitor banks may be connected in star also, right. In practical case, this is what the scenario, right. If you go for the next, the rating of the CSH. So, how much capacitance value you need to connect? What is the value of the capacitor which is connected in shunt to the load? So, that we are going to calculate here. So, if I consider the QSH value, Q per phase, that is Q phase value is nothing but I phase, V phase into I phase into sin pi, right. So, if I consider the capacitor, whatever the capacitor I am considering, that is a pure capacitor. So, then what happens? The angle is 90 degrees. For the pure capacitor, pi is 90 degrees. Then you are going to get sin 90 is 1. Then you are going to get Q phase is equal to V phase into I phase. Then Q C phase I am considering, because here it is capacitor value, Q capacitor per phase is equal to V phase into V phase by X C I am considering. I phase is nothing but I can write I phase as a V phase by X C, that is X C is nothing but capacitive reactance, right. So, if I consider the Q C S H per phase value, which is equal to V phase into V phase by X C is nothing but 1 by 2 pi F C. Here C is nothing but C shunt I am considering, 1 by 2 pi F C S H, right. Just multiply that V phase and V phase, you are going to get V phase square, and into the denominator value I am taking to the numerator, that is 2 pi F C phase value you are going to get. So, C phase value from that equation of Q C S H per phase value, then you are going to get C per phase value is, so just bring that whatever the remaining terms in the right hand side to the left hand side, you are going to get Q C S H per phase by V phase square into 2 pi F you are going to get. So, that is what the equation 2 let us consider. Then substitute this equation 2 in the equation 1. So, where is the equation 1 value? That is this equation Q S H per phase. So, in the place of Q C S H per phase, in that equation 2 you need to substitute this value. That means, so here in the equation 2 you are having the Q C S H per phase. So, in the place of that I am substituting P into tan pi 1 minus tan pi 2 by 3 into, in the equation 2 you are having V phase square into 2 pi f you are going to get. So, that is the capacitor per phase value. So, if I substitute those values, that is tan pi 1, tan pi 2 and real power and frequency and voltage in that equation, then you are going to get C per phase value, how much capacitance you need to connect in the transmission line or at the substation. In the shunt, whatever you are connecting the capacitor, that capacitance value can be found by using this equation, that is C per phase value equation, right. Here the pi 1 is nothing but what the power factor angle of the load without C S H, that is without shunt capacitor, and you are having the pi 2, it is a power factor angle of the load with C S H with shunt capacitor, right. So, if we go for the summary of this lecture, so the reactive power depends upon the reactance. As the reactance is smaller value, you are having the dq by dV value is more, right. And also we have seen that for the light load conditions, the sending end voltage is approximately equal to the receiving end voltage. And the next one is shunt capacitor compensation, which will improve the power factor of the load. So, that is what we have seen is pi 1 is greater than pi 2 and the cos pi 2 is greater than cos pi 1 as the power factor is increases. And next last one is by supplying the reactive power to the bus, it maintains the voltage profile constant. Why we are controlling this voltage? Our unit is reactive power and voltage control. Why we are controlling voltage means in order to maintain the voltage profile constant throughout the system. To maintain the voltage profile constant, we are going to control the voltage at the receiving end side. Mostly we are controlling at the receiving end side. So, that is what the summary of this lecture, and thank you everyone for listening this class.